Welcome to today's DealHub webinar, the deal room difference, streamlining deal management. I'm Jonathan Angel, your host for today. I'm a customer success manager here at DealHub, and I'm joined today by my colleague Karina Milman from our solutions experts team. Hello, Karina. Good morning.
Hi, Jonathan. Good evening. How are you?
Doing great. Hope you all are doing great as well. Great to have you aboard. And today we're going to talk about a very important part of our customers' quoting process, the deal room. The deal room is the virtual place where you meet your prospects in order to close business. Although crucial, we know that contract management and proposal management can be a very extremely challenging affair. Countless emails, multiple contract versions, lack of transparency, chasing down signatures, and other bottlenecks often take the focus away from the important business activities. And DealHub simplifies this process by enabling all deal stakeholders to collaborate within one digital deal room where they can generate agreements and legal documents, revise contracts, manage red lines, and provide real-time status and visibility to all. In the last year, we've seen a surge of utilization of the deal room among our customer base. We see organizations choosing to send an innovative next-gen digital sales proposal to their customers and take them through the entire sales cycle end-to-end within this digital room. Why use deal room over other traditional forms of sending quotes? Well, first, we want to instill confidence in our buyers to make the right decision and choose us as an organization and do business with us. We also want to package a premium product in a premium package. The way that we display products, services, collateral in the deal room is going to make a very, very strong impression on prospects coming in through the door and considering becoming your customers. This is also a branding opportunity. Everything about the deal room is about showing your company's brand, who you are, what's your DNA, and sharing this in the best way possible with prospects and customers. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, we want to impact the bottom line. We have seen a surge in win rates for organizations and opportunities utilizing deal room. We've seen an increase of the 13% in close rates of opportunities that were closed utilizing deal room compared to opportunities that were closed without the deal room. We've also seen a significant acceleration of closing of deals. We see up to 25% reduction in the time it takes to close. Therefore, it's an incredible packaging, and we want today to walk you through the main scenarios of the deal room and perhaps showcase a few of the latest and more advanced functionalities in order to give you insight as well as help you to make the most out of your deal room. The agenda for today, we're going to go over the deal room community and permissions, where we invite people to collaborate with us within the digital proposal. We will discuss how to add documents, supporting documents to the deal room utilizing deal room deal box capability and appendices. We're going to go over redlining and contract negotiation through the deal room. We're going to discuss forms, or in other words, how to ask for information from the customer within the deal room in context within the digital proposal without ever coming out and resorting back to emails and other form of exchanges. We are, of course, going to be talking about e-signatures and one of our latest capability additions, the multi-signers. We're going to be discussing the deal stream. The deal stream is our Chrome widget extension that allows sales rep to remain on top of all their deals by giving them live notification and buyer insights into the intent of prospects and customers. Finally, we're going to go over some tips and tricks, some best practices that we've accumulated together with our community of customers over the past year. And finally, we're going to tease you with a little bit of what's coming up next within our roadmap. We may or may not have time for questions tonight, but please send us all of your questions in the Q&A section. If we don't have time to take them live, we will get back to each and every one of you after the session. And that's it. Without further ado, let's get into DealHub. And I'm going to play the role today of a sales rep, creating a new sales proposal. And Karina is going to be my customer, and she's going to work and collaborate on the deal together with me, as well as showcase us some of the behind the scenes of those capabilities that we're going to discuss. Now, as all of you are familiar, I am now in DealHub in the quote creation page. I have a quote that I've already built that is ready to be sent to the customer. I have all of my products and services over here. I have selected a customer contact, in this case, Emily Novak, to be the recipient of my digital proposal. I have DealRoom as my document type. I have a template, and now it's time for me to submit the proposal and send it to Karina. I'm going to submit the proposal. There are no approval workflows at the moment, but of course, should there be any approval workflows, they would take place right now and be sent for approval to the relevant managers and leaders. Now, in a few moments, the quote is going to be synced to the CRM. And once that is done, DealHub is going to offer me the chance to publish the proposal with my customer. Here it is. The DealRoom is now ready to be shared. Now, we have two publish options, the compose and send and email and quick publish. Our recommendation is to use the compose and send. Compose and send allows us to send a branded email that's tailored to your organization with your images, your look and feel, and default phrasing of the proposal to the recipients. Now, when I'm doing compose and send, I have the ability to modify, to personalize the wording of this proposal, to make it more personal, to leverage all of my previous communication with the customer to tailor it to them individually. Now, this proposal is going to be sent, of course, to the customer contact I selected in my quote creation page, and to all of the additional stakeholders on both sides that are going to be relevant and necessary in order to conclude the deal. In my organization, this is Oliver Lester, our deal desk manager, as well as Martin Lopez, our VP sales. Now, we're able to build rules that determine who can be added automatically to the deal room. This is usually following a business logic. For example, organizations may have EMEA deals add automatically the VP sales of EMEA as a signer, whereas US deals may have the VP of North America join automatically. This can be done based on the deal type. For example, enterprise deal will have the leadership of enterprise. We add deal desk. Other organizations, of course, will add legal, especially when redlining is involved. And all of these become part of what we call the deal room community. I can add additional stakeholders manually by simply inputting additional names, their title, and their email, and the proposal will be sent to them as well. Each person who receives the digital deal room will get a personalized link when I'm doing the compose and send. The personalized link means it will identify them so that we know exactly who has entered the deal room, who has viewed it, and who has performed interactions, and allows us a lot more clarity and visibility into our deals. I'm going to go ahead and send this proposal to Karina, while Karina explains to us a little bit more on how and where this is managed.
Thanks, Jonathan. So looking at the back end, behind the scenes of the settings, we need to go into the version settings. Under the advanced settings, we have the deal room settings, and here we can find all the settings that are relevant to our deal room. So as Jonathan mentioned, we have our deal room community, and here under the auto join rules, we can decide and we can set up who will be automatically joined into the community. And again, Jonathan mentioned that we can set up several rules based on our geography, based on our departments, and we can decide who will be assigned automatically there. Now here, you can see that we have a list of all the users that we have set up in DealHub. I can select based on my rule, based on my use case, who should be automatically assigned. In this case, as you remember, Martin Lopez our VP Sales, and Oliver Lester, which is our Deal Desk Manager. You see that there's also an option to set certain stakeholders as mandatory. That will mean that Jonathan, while sending his publish DealRoom email, he will not be able to delete these stakeholders. He will be able to delete Oliver, but not Martin Lopez, because we have to make sure that Martin will be part of the community and will be able to view the DealRoom what's published. Another setup that we need to be familiar with is under the user settings, under the permissions. We can set up permissions for our internal team, and we can decide if they can act as DealRoom community administrators. And this setting basically allows Jonathan, as the AE, to add additional members to the community, and he will show later how that can be done. If not, then the settings that I just showed before will be relevant, and he will not be able to make any changes. Before returning to Jonathan, just wanted to show you the email that Emily got from Jonathan once the DealRoom was published. I have this option here to open the DealRoom, and then have it here and review all the information. And I will let Jonathan go over all the details here.
Thank you, Karina. So now that we've published the DealRoom with our customer, the buyer and the seller have access to this joint ecosystem that will facilitate all of the interactions and the negotiations necessary to sign the agreement. The customer receives personalized content regarding our company, our products, our services, who we are, our DNA, and key information about the quote, such as the products and services being offered, as well as terms and conditions and more. The DealRoom will allow us to collaborate together in context without leaving the DealRoom on key topics. When I go through my DealRoom, I have access to a plethora of sharing capabilities. For example, here I have introduction from our executive sponsor. We have a list of customer. We have a video detailing our organization, short video presenting the company and who we are. We have presentations about our services, about our products, a solution overview where we can go over specific aspects of the solution. And in effect, what we are doing here in the DealRoom is we are taking the customer by the hand through a sales journey. And the buyer experience for this is what's going to allow us to be seen as innovative and leaders in our field. When a customer logs in, you will see that using the personalized token, the user is recognized. Over here, it knows that I'm Jonathan. And as I navigate the DealRoom, I have over here some links. I can download the PDF version of the agreement at any point. This is available to both the seller and the buyer. I am able to manage the DealRoom community and add additional stakeholders as the need arises. I have the ability to copy link or to share the DealRoom by email. So at any point, Karina, for example, can share the DealRoom with her manager, with her CFO, or with her legal team as required to bring them into the DealRoom to see everything that we have to offer, which is amazing because these people may not have been part of the sales process. They may not have been seeing the demos that were shown to Karina, and yet over here, they have access to a succinct version of all the information that they need in order to make a decision. We also have a quick link to our deal box, which we will talk about in a moment. In addition to all of the marketing collateral, case studies, and more, we have, of course, a list of products and prices that we can tailor to each organization. We can show them in different ways, such as showing one-time fees, recurring payments, etc., and giving visibility and clarity on exactly what it is that we are selling and what the customer is purchasing. And of course, this sales journey is going to have a number of interactions within the DealRoom that will culminate in the signature of the digital agreement. Now, before we reach that conclusion, let's go over a few key functionalities. And I want to start with our latest DealRoom edition, the Deal Box feature. When I share my DealRoom and all of the commercial material to Karina, I may want to add additional information. And the deal box is our own private folder to add any supporting documentation to the deal. For example, this can be session recordings that we've had. It can be business requirement documents. It can be a presentation. It can be a brochure, whatever the case may be. This is available to share for both the seller and the buyer. We can set rules on that to restrict this, but this is available by default to both parties. We can arrange subfolders over here with specific topics, specific contents. This can also be configured in such a way that certain documents are added by default before the DealRoom is even being published and will be present when the customer logs in for the first time. Adding a document is extremely easy by simply dragging and dropping or browsing through my laptop and selecting the appropriate document. And in this case, we've seen a couple of documents that were added by default. We also have the ability to put in comments on either side on the documents to help with the collaboration. We can open them. We can also, of course, download them for later access. Now, important to say, all of the elements of the deal box are supporting elements. They are not documents that are going to become part of the contract or the agreement. These are not going to be part of the signature. These are simply to support your collaboration and keep it within the context of the digital proposal, as opposed to exiting, going back into email, setting up a drive folder for the deal, etc. Here we have everything for the opportunity. In contrast, we have our appendices feature. Appendices can be added by the seller only, where the seller can add additional documents to the quote that are going to be appended to the final deal. Okay, meaning that they will become part of the contract, they will become part of the offering, and I'm going to be adding here an example. Okay, simply by selecting over here, I'm going to add, let's say, a standard DPA. I can preview it. I can, of course, notify DealRoom viewers that this has been added, if this is something that I've added later on. And once I save this, this will become appended to the end of the PDF that is generated, the agreement and the contract. And in effect, when the time will come for digital signature, when we review the document, it will contain the appended DPA that I have just added. Now, Karina, if you will please take us one step back and let's take a look on the back end where this is configured in order to implement this in our organization.
Okay, so going back to the advanced settings and the DealRoom settings, you can see that we have deal box settings here. And here we can decide if our buyer can add or delete files in the deal box. So basically they will be able to upload documents from their personal computer, or they can delete documents that we already have set up there. Another permission that we need to take a look at here under the permission sets in the user settings are these two permission sets. Can our internal team, our sales reps, can they add files and folders, or if they can delete and rename existing files and folders? Again, it's up to you if you would like to allow that or not. And we can also decide if we want to allow them to manage the appendices in the DealRoom. Now, another thing that I would like to show you is how to set this widget up in the DealRoom template. So first of all, I added this widget, the deal box widget, to my template. And you can see in here that I have a preset of folders that I've added here with some additional documents, and also additional documents that I have outside of the folders that our buyers can go in and see and interact with, just as Jonathan showed before.
So now that we've shared the DealRoom and added all of our supporting materials, both appendices to the contract and additional presentations, etc., recordings. It's now time to go one level deeper in the collaboration between myself and the buyer. And this is going to be our redline feature. Now, redline allows us to start a back and forth interaction between our legal team and Karina's legal team in order to agree on the wording and the clauses and the contents of specific parts of the agreement. Now, not necessarily every change to the terms and conditions or payment terms, etc., needs to be part of a redline. Some organizations make simple changes by creating questions in the playbook that will ask about changing perhaps to the billing term, the billing frequency, opt-out, and more, and that will be reflected in the proposal. So this is something that they communicate to the customer before sending the proposal. Now, for more in-depth communication and interaction, we have the red line in which we insert a sub-document into the DealRoom. The sub-document is configured exactly like the PDF and other documents on the system, meaning that it has access to all of the information from the CRM as well as from the CPQ and any additional calculations and metrics that we want to bring forward. In this case, I'm sending to Karina a version, an initial draft of payment terms, and Karina is able to review it by entering the editing mode, and she will put in some requests to make changes to the deal. Karina, if you please.
Yeah. Before I go into the redlining, just just wanted to show you another permission set that you can set up in the management mode. You can decide who is allowed to redline in the DealRoom and who can make changes and approve any changes in the redline section. You see that here our sales team is not allowed to make any changes and redline. But for example, if we go into the legal permission set, you can see that they have the permission and they are able to make the necessary changes and approve them. Going back to Emily. And the DealRoom. I will go into the edit mode and I would like to review all the information that we have here. I see that the payment terms in this case are not relevant. I would like to change them to 30 days. And maybe also the payment due is also after 90 days. I can continue to review the document and make any additional changes as needed. Once I'm done, I am notifying Jonathan that I've made a few changes and I would like his input on them. So let me notify Jonathan the notification has been sent, and let's go to Jonathan to see his side.
Thank you, Karina. So I will be notified now, both via email and through our deal stream widget, that Karina has performed or started the redlining process. Okay, if I scroll down over here, I will now see that this section is currently in editing and a timestamp of when the last edit was made. I'm able to see all of the changes and requests that Karina makes. I'm able to see comments, and I'm going to now enter edit mode myself in order to respond. I can review, and then the negotiation starts. Okay, I am able to accept or reject specific items. So I can go ahead and approve this one, and another one I can reject. I can make additional changes of my own. And once I'm done with my part of the changes, I am then going to submit to Karina the latest changes. And now she will have the opportunity again to collaborate with me, to put in her own comments. You see that the timestamp has just been updated. The revision version was currently changed, and this is the version that was approved by me. Karina is now able to either approve as well or to make further changes. This back and forth will continue until we reach an agreement. In this case, Karina, if you would please accept my latest changes so that we may see the conclusion of the redlining process.
And I've just approved all the changes. You should be able to see everything on your side.
Great. And again, we'll get back to the deal stream in a moment, but I can get live notification as I am navigating in order to inform me that this change has now been made as well. The revision version was approved both by myself and by the customer, and now all of the changes, alterations, removal have been pushed aside, and what we are left with is the final agreed upon version of the document that will become part of our contract. Now that we've agreed on the payment terms through the redlining, I will show you one additional way that we have to interact with the customer, and this is called DealRoom forms. DealRoom forms allow us to collect information, to ask information from the customer, again, in context, within the scope of the proposal, without resorting to channels. Classic examples of this can include billing information, right? Please provide me your billing contact, your billing address. Some organization may ask about invoicing, payment, and also about PO numbers. Okay, do we need a PO number? What's going to be the PO number? And the customer can reply directly within the form. Now, the information that is added by the customer over here will both become part of the agreement. So I can pull this information and push it into the PDF should I need. And of course, any and all of it can be synced back to the CRM in order to enrich our records. This is done by configuring a set of playbook questions for the form within the playbook, either visible or hidden, and mapping them to the CRM and to this widget of the forms over here. Now, when I'm done asking for information for the customer, then will come the time to discuss about signature, okay? Perhaps the most important step. What we're looking at now is our latest multi-signer signature widget in the DealRoom. We're able to see on both sides, seller and buyer, who the signatories will be, if it's either a generic person or specific people that have been put in as signatories. Like we said, who will sign is generally built on a business logic of EMEA leader, US leader, enterprise, whatever the case may be, as relevant to your organization. And we can have one or more signers on either side. The multi-signer feature allows us to have a modular variable number of signers on both sides of the offer. Now, if I go to the buyer signers, I can dynamically add additional signers on the customer side, for example, and then have additional people in. I can also say which specific users need to be signatories. So in this case, I can choose specifically Emily, and Emily is going to be the one signing. So I'm going to conclude the changes. And again, when the time comes, the buyer persona is going to come ahead and sign the deal. And we have the option for the seller to do the same. Karina, if you would please walk us through the configuration aspect and what we need to pay attention to when setting up multi-signers, and then let's go and sign the contract, please.
Okay. So going back to the advanced settings, the DealRoom settings, you see that we have an option here to set up signing rules. As Jonathan mentioned, we have different scenarios, we have different organizations, we have different territories, and we can set up different rules based on our needed processes. In this case, we have one rule, and you can see here that first of all, I can choose who will be the first to sign. Do I want first to get the buyer's signature, sellers, or as it is in our case, it doesn't really matter. Now we can also set up who in our internal team will be signing the DealRoom. Is it anyone in the organization, or do we want to set up somebody specific? For example, somebody specific can be the submitter, submitter's manager, or our VP of sales, for example, Martin Lopez, and also our deal desk manager, Oliver Lester. Once I set up both of these signers, I can either say, I don't care what the order of the signature is, or I want to specify what will be the flow. In this case, to specify the flow, I can set this up as a signing workflow and then rearrange them according to the order that we would like them to sign. Another setting that is again located under the user permissions is who is allowed to sign. Are we allowing our sales reps to sign, or are we allowing our legal team to sign? Depends on your decision, and this is where this can be set up. Another thing that we need to take into account when setting up the multi-signature feature is updating also the PDF layout. And here, when we go into our PDF layout, we need to add another element called the signature. Once we add that, this is our signature block, the updated signature block. And you see that we have the seller side and the buyer side. And this will be automatically updated once the deal room has been signed with the relevant signature. Now, this section is dynamic. So it means that if we have more than one signature on the deal room, this will be updated based on the number of the signatures that we will end up having. Now let's go back to Emily. And I have an update to review and sign. Now, if you remember, Jonathan had the option to add additional signers to the buyer team. I would have had another section here where I could have added additional members from my internal team as the buyer. In this case, it's only me, Emily. So I can click here, review the document. I have the option here to review the PDF, the layout that we just looked at. And then if everything's okay, I can go in and accept and sign my deal room. And now you can see that everything has been signed. If needed, I can go and I can view my document. I can also go and download it with all the signatures. Jonathan?
Fantastic. Thank you, Karina. So I myself, as the seller, can now come in and see that the deal has been signed. I went ahead and signed on my side as well while Karina was presenting. And now we have both digital signatures with the timestamp, and I am able to download the signed document. And what I will see in the document together with everything else is the modular signature block populating with our digital signatures. This document will also be saved onto the CRM as a add-on. Now, something that we wanted to showcase is the DealStream Chrome extension. This is an extension that our own sales team is crazy about. This is what allows sales reps to stay on top of their deals and be able to knowingly reach back to the customer with buyer insight that they will be receiving. So when I open my extension over here, I can see information about all of my deals. In this case, I'm opening Edge Communication. This is my current opportunity. This was just one, so I see it over here as well. And I can see all of the activity. And I'm going to look for each individual person who's joined the deal room, who has done what. So I can see, for example, who has seen the deal room, how many times. So I get a lot of information as to what the buyer is up to. So unlike the old-fashioned way of sending an email, sending a proposal in a PDF, Word, Excel, etc., and then kind of just sending it as an attachment, saying I look forward to hearing from you. Let me know if you have any questions. Here, 2 days go by, we haven't heard back. Normally, we don't know what the customer has been up to. Has he opened our proposal? Has he sent it to someone else in the organization? What's blocking them? Is it too early to reach out? Is it too late? And here, using the deal stream, I know exactly what's going on. So I see how many times my customer has viewed the deal room. I see perhaps that Karina has added another stakeholder, and I'm going to go on LinkedIn. I'm going to check who the stakeholder is because he hasn't seen my demos. I don't know who that person is. Is he a signer? What's going on? I can reach back with enough information to make a difference in the way I approach the situation, in the communication, in the messaging that I'm going to be having when I reach back to the customer. Of course, I see additions and edits in the red line, the signature, etc. I see how many signatures are left at each given point. In this case, we had 2 signatures on the deal, myself and Karina. And here we're able to go to the next opportunity. And especially when end of quarter, we're sending out many opportunities at the same time. This tool allows us to stay on top of things. And again, utilize these buyer intent insights that we're getting from the interactions that our customers have had with the deal room. With that being said, let's open our perspective a little bit and share some of the successful tips and tricks of organizations utilizing the deal room that we have accumulated over the past few months. So our first tip is to make it personal. The more personalized the deal room is, and the more it is adapted to your customer persona, the more likely it is to resonate with them. We see companies who tailor contents of the deal room to the deal buyer persona. We see automation of which collaterals will show based on the customer's region, based on their industry, based on the line of business that is being sold in this particular deal, based on the deal size, or any other metric that is relevant to your organization. We're able to automate this via the playbook based on information either from the quote, from the playbook itself, or from the CRM, or any combination thereof. We're also able to set deal room related questions for the sales rep and ask them, for instance, which case study is most appropriate to send to the customer based on their previous interactions and the one that they think will resonate the most. The more personalized, personal the deal room feels, the better the chances that it will resonate with the buyer persona and increase our chances to win them over. Our next tip is let your deal room grow with your customers. Most organizations, when they go live with DealHub, go live with a one-size-fits-all deal room, which is a great starting point. And it's a step up from sending quotes in the old-fashioned way via Word or PDF. However, the contents and the messaging of the deal room should not remain the same throughout your customer's lifecycle journey. You'll present a deal room to your customers at key moments. The first one is, of course, when they become your customer for the first time. Then you want to wow them. You want to show them what your company is about. Explain to them about your products. Show them the little video and examples of customers and all of the additional incredible tools that we have at our disposal within the deal room. But then a year from now, the customer is renewing. They're having an upsell, an upgrade, and more. And at that point, you're no longer approaching them as a new customer, neither should you. At this point, you're not showing them who you are and what your products is. You are showing perhaps the evolution of your company in the past year. Perhaps you want to show how products and services have evolved, perhaps new offerings that the customer is not aware of in order to incentivize them to inquire and purchase additional products and services. You definitely want, when you're managing existing business like renewal opportunities, to thank your customers for their continued trust and partnership. And the deal room for existing business should reflect that and be tailored to the circumstance of each individual quote and opportunity. Our third tip for today, and a great best practice, is one opportunity, one deal room. We want to make sure that deal room is the exclusive type of selectable output document in the quote creation page by the sales rep. Some organizations show both PDF and deal room, and they're likely to miss out on the incredible momentum that sending this innovative digital proposal can provide our deals and the level of interaction and collaboration that they allow. This is more especially common among old-fashioned sales reps who are resistant to change, but really there is no reason, if we want to be a leader, if we want to be innovative and wow our customers, to not utilize deal room. The PDF is going nowhere. The process is that every customer gets a deal room. This way we are sure that our messaging, our branding gets to the right people before signing the deal. And then if they want to download the PDF to send it internally or anything else, the PDF can be downloaded at any time by both the seller side and the buyer side. So you're sharing the deal room, leveraging all the additional functionalities that we've reviewed, and still able to download the PDF should the need present itself. Our final tip for today is get marketing on board, and more generally, communicate, truly communicate with your customer. The deal room is an incredible tool for the organization. Yes, its primary function is to close deals, and therefore it's usually configured and maintained by sales and revenue operations team. However, the deal room is also a tool to communicate with your customers' buyer personas at key moments in their life cycle, starting from when they choose to become your customer. It is a direct channel of communication to the exact personas your marketing team wants to target. We're using it to interact with them in many different ways. And a healthy deal room should evolve over time. It should reflect the latest branding of your website and your organization. It should reflect the latest collaterals at your disposal. It should reflect case studies and corporate information as it becomes available to keep it the most up-to-date information accessible here. So don't hesitate to collaborate internally, bring in marketing. Let's say your company is attending a conference next month where customers can come and visit you at your booth. Let them know via deal room. Put a registration link in the deal room. Likewise, for webinar, corporate announcements, IPOs, and other big news, you want to use the deal room as a direct channel of communication and make sure your messaging is always up to date. With those tips being said, we have some teasers for you regarding our roadmap and where the deal room feature is going. The deal room has become a crucial part in the quoting processes of an enormous number of our customers. First of all, the deal room is going to be getting a facelift, and this is one of many, many changes that are coming next year. We're going to have a new community screen. We'll have a menu on the left side that the sales rep will be able to navigate, do quick navigation to specific parts of the page. Let's say go directly to the pricing table, directly to the signature block without having to scroll through the entire contents. We are going to have pricing tables shared between deal room and PDF. This is something that's releasing this month, guys, in Q4. The ability to create one pricing table and share it throughout the deal room and the PDF. Until now, you had to configure the pricing tables separately for deal room and PDF. And we saw that this led to discrepancies between the document, the PDF and the deal room. And now you'll have the ability to manage it all in one place. And this is aimed to reduce these types of problems in the future. We're also adding online seller-buyer collaboration. And this will start with a chat feature, allowing the buyer and the seller to chat in real time directly within the deal room. We're also launching what I'm very excited for, which is the launchpad for deal room. Today, the deal room is not directly editable by the sales rep. The sales rep builds a quote in the quote generation page, publishes it, and then based on all the rules and what's been set in the back end by the admins, the DealRoom is going to populate the right information for the deal. However, we've heard many asks for being able to directly edit some of this DealRoom for the sales rep. For example, being able to edit the cover letter at the beginning or any additional changes. So our Launchpad feature will allow us to go in, modify specific widget contents before the proposal is sent, before the DealRoom is actually shared with the customer. This is also going to allow you to go in and upload documents manually to the deal box before this is sent to the customer. So we are creating a more streamlined and interactive process with the sales reps. Now, we talked about DealRoom, but it's hard to talk about contract management without getting into the world of CLM, and contract lifecycle management. And therefore, the coming year is going to see a lot of addition in that realm. And the big, huge addition that we're going to have in this topic is the ability to do offline redline. This has been asked many times by many customers, and guys, this is coming in Q1 of 2023. It's just around the corner. And what we will do is the ability to download the entire agreement, to make changes. You'll be able to download it in Word format for convenience to make edits. We'll be able to limit which parts are editable and which are not. You will then be able to upload back the document, and we will see in real time the difference between two iterations of the document. You will see where there was a changes. There will be color coding to help you understand what types of changes have been made, and to understand if there's important change to look out for. This will streamline the negotiation process and the redlining process and all of the work with the legal teams. Now, beyond comparing versions and manual edits, we will also be able to compare previous versions of the document in terms of numbers and fields and variables that are generated by DealHub itself. So if, for example, you had a question in the playbook where payment terms were set initially, let's say, to 30 days, and then in a later iteration that was then, of course, published in the DealRoom, we modified it to 5 weeks, we will see that the value itself was changed from the system and not only by one of the stakeholders on the buyer or seller side. So all of this is coming very soon, and it will be supported by the ability to create a workflow that is based on those changes. So today, all of the approval workflow are happening within the realm of quote generation, quote creation, before sending the DealRoom. Now we will be able, after sending the DealRoom, to have another approval workflow specifically tailored to changes that were made as part of the redlining. For example, if payment terms have changed in redlining, then have an approval from finance, legal, sales leadership, etc. We are going to have a lot more features coming in. I want to talk to you about one more for today, and that is the contract repository. Again, this is a feature that we've had many requests for and that we are working on. We are going to put all of our contracts directly in DealHub. Today, we are syncing them to the CRM. Tomorrow, you'll be able to see all of the contracts of, let's say, a specific organization within DealHub. You will also be able to add documents that were not signed through DealHub for this customer in order to create one holistic repository of all your agreements with them. We're going to allow tagging and searching, even deep scan, deep search, looking for specific phrases, exclusivity, exactly to see who has what content, what phrase, what clause, and this will be supported in repository. So you'll have very powerful navigation and search capabilities to serve the needs of both sales teams and legal. And guys, this is some of the many new changes that are coming around the corner. We will have a lot more to share with you very soon. This concludes today's webinar. I want to thank Karina for presenting it together with me. Thank you so much, Karina. You're great.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you all for attending. If you have any additional question, please reach out to your CSMs. They will be very happy to discuss these features more in depth with you and help you to navigate them and to implement them in order to ramp up your DealRoom and make the most out of the new abilities. Leverage multi-signers, leverage DealBox, get the DealRoom a refresher from now and then, and we really hope to hear from you soon about the acceleration of deals and putting them in the hands of the sales rep, allowing them to close more and faster. Thank you so much, everyone, and I'll see you next time.